this is an interesting topic, which I was really surprised to see. But Hugh Jackman commenting on Bryan Singer's behavior and whether it had the potential to taint the franchise. Which is obviously to do with all the 4 X-Men movies, because Bryan Singer, obviously, a bit of a no-no, naughty man, alleged sexual misconduct and things. Hugh Jackman was asked whether Bryan Singer's conduct, his behavior on set, has tainted the franchise in his eyes, basically. So it's like, is that sort of retroactive cancelling stuff? Well, we've learnt this about you now, so we hate you and everything you've done. Which
I would still say alleged, but yeah, like they say there, because he's never been charged with anything.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It is all alleged at this point. So this is just interesting for. I mean, that was the thing which got him his career, basically. So Hugh Jackman got his big break when he landed the role of Logan Wolverine in Bryan Singer's X-Men. That is literally what catapulted him to stardom. And he'd go on to play the fan favorite mutant for the director in 3 more movies. So there was multiple sexual misconduct allegations. Singer's obviously been blacklisted from Hollywood. Although I think was he on something recently? I swore he was.
I don't know. The last thing I know he worked on was the Queen movie that I remember, but I don't know if he did anything after that or not. I can't remember.
Yeah. It says, but even before those accusations were brought to light, the filmmaker had gained a reputation for being a domineering, bullying figure on set. So during an interview with The Guardian, Jackman was asked if Singer's alleged behavior has tainted the X-Men franchise for him in any way. Like I said, this is retroactive cancelling. It's now you know this about him. Do you hate the stuff that you've done with him? Which I think is a bit silly. That's the inability of separating the art from the artist. And especially as a movie is such a collaborative effort, it's such a dumb question to ask an actor, because obviously their performance is part of that collaboration. Their performance is part of the art. So it really seems like a fucking stupid thing to ask. So Jackman responds, that's a really, really complicated question. There's a lot of things at stake here. X-Men was the turning point, I believe, in terms of comic book movies. And I think there's a lot to be proud of. And there's certainly questions to be asked, and I think they should be asked. But I guess I don't know how to elegantly answer that. I think it's complex, and ultimately I look back with pride at what we've achieved and what momentum that started. So as for Singer's difficult directing style, Jackman did suggest that the filmmaker conducted himself in a manner that wouldn't be tolerated today. He said, this is my first movie in America. You've got to understand it was also new to me. I think it's fair to say that there are some stories, I think there are some ways of being on set that would not happen now. And I think that things have changed for the better. Thoughts? Retroactive cancellation of art? Paulie?
Yeah, I think, Jackman is a very principled man. And I think this is a great way, the best way he could answer it. I'm surprised they asked him this, but nothing surprises me nowadays as far as the lack of class from these journalists and the stuff they ask, and just trying to do this like you said, retro cancellation.
Yeah, retroactively cancelling the art that anyone's even made. I mean, they do it all the time with Lovecraft. Whenever H.P. Lovecraft comes up, they always, don't forget he was a racist. Don't forget he hated black people. It's like, for fuck's sake, you can talk about his horror without referencing his racism. It's all right. Like, clutch your pearls elsewhere, for goodness sake. We all know it. You don't need to constantly reference it. It's all right. We understand not referencing it doesn't mean you're condoning it. It's okay. And this is almost the thing that they're trying to get here on Hugh Jackman is like, well, what do you think? Do you act, are you going to distance yourself or do you condone it? That's kind of the vibe that it gives me, which I think is just a bit dumb, especially when it's a collaborative effort in art.
It's almost as dumb as guilt by association, right?
Yeah.
Like going back to the James Gunn thing before, did he make some very distasteful jokes? Fuck yes. But anybody who's going to sit there on their high horse and pretend that they've never laughed at any jokes like that before should really step back and look. If you've watched South Park or Airplane, those jokes are plenty in there. It's just the context and it's a little bit better taste. Maybe it's more your taste. Same kind of thing here. Like, it's all complete, the context of it. They're trying to take one thing and mix it with another. Right?
Yeah.
They couldn't nail him on the other accusations. So now we're just going to make sure we paint him as difficult. It's just like Henry Cavill. They couldn't flat out paint him as a conservative. So what are we going to do? We're going to make him sound like he's a difficult actor to work with. Why is he a difficult actor to work with? Well, once you get the answers to the questions, the only thing they can come up with is, oh, well, he cares about, the source material too much.
Well, also they've tried to get him on the fact that he dates younger women.
And again, there you go. And again, I'm not even remotely trying to sound like I'm sticking up for Singer either, because I know somebody's going to accuse me of it as soon as I say anything in the fucking chat. No, I'm just somebody who looks at everything objectively. You know what? People have left out the fact that he dates women too. They're so quick to point out that he is gay. No, he's not. He's bisexual. Like we actually had to kill a story on Singer before when we were going to do one on in relation to Apocalypse, because we found so many discrepancies that we couldn't go forward with it. We're like, wait a minute, what the fuck? So like, again, and I'm not saying there's a lot of shady shit around Singer's past, okay? But that's all we can say. As far as the rest of it goes, is he difficult to work with? You know what? Most directors were like that before recent years. Because nowadays you can't even raise your voice on a set without it fucking leaking out online and everybody starting to end your career. Right? Like, it used to be a director could tell you that, they were going to end your fucking life if you wouldn't do something and get away with it. Well, I mean,
let's be honest and let's be fair. Like,
I know, but I'm just saying, I'm being a bit hyperbolic, but still, I'm just saying. Well, then again, if Andre was here, he would tell you the story of what's his face, the German director. God dang it, he did Nosferatu. The actor did the remake of Nosferatu. He told me a story about. I can't think of their names now. Anyway, there was one time where he pulled a gun on him. He's either like, you're going to shoot the scene or I'm going to shoot us. I'm going to shoot you and then I'm going to pull it. It's like, holy shit.
Well, you got Kubrick. He was...
and Kubrick's a great example, right? Yeah, like, he did not take no shit.
Yeah, but I just think...
you can't be acting like a tyrannical jerk either, right? It's one thing to be dealing with prima donna actors... And another thing to be dealing with just being a complete asshole, which Singer could have very well been being. But is that the kind of question you ask somebody like this question? I think is a very asshole question. Paulie's right, and it's a kind of a gotcha question that you have no real way of getting out of.
Yeah, well, I think he handled it very, very smart. I think he handled it the best he possibly could.
He's got class.
But I don't think, class. I think retroactively cancelling art, which is a collaborative effort because you can't separate one artist from the art, is super, super dumb. Super, super, super dumb. I mean, that's basically what...
Well, it's like asking somebody if you find... Okay, let's say, you find out an actor killed their wife, or they turn around and kill their wife. All the movies that somebody's made with them before, you're going to turn around and say, oh, do you condemn them now? Well, of course I condemn them. What about all the work you do before? Do you feel bad about working with them before? Right. It's like, how was I supposed to fucking know they were going to kill their wife? Like, what the fuck? Like,
Nick, we haven't heard from you yet. What do you think?
I mean, at the end of the day, I have no clue what Bryan Singer has done. Nowadays, like, I can't believe anything till I actually see some proof and evidence behind it. And if he hasn't ever been charged with anything,
I proved that, didn't I guess?
Yeah. I mean, so many chicks out there lie about people to try to ruin their careers or it's just, I don't.
You should never blindly believe anything either. That's the thing. You can blindly believe it.
Well, let's go to another extreme lately with Bill Murray. Everybody's trying to not make up, but they're coming out with these stories now about how quote unquote mean and difficult he is all of a sudden for some reason.
He just sounds like a grumpy old guy, to be fair. Sounds pretty normal, to be honest.
Yeah, and the cancel culture today is just insane. But regardless of all that, you can't, whether it's true or not, you can't take away what those movies did for starting the comic book genre of movies. You know,
I mean, really good.
It was huge. It changed the direction of cinema, I feel, to where people started putting a lot of, you know, time and money into actually bringing these comic books to the big screen, you know. And so, you know, however he was on set or whatever, you know, back then, whatever, you know, I don't care. The movies stand on their own regardless of any of that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the difference. You asked, do you condone that if he did that? Well, of course not. I wouldn't condone that. Is the movie still good? Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that got to do with the other? Like, it's a movie that's almost 20 fucking years. Actually, it's over 20 years old now if you look at the first one.
Well, so like, that's what people can't seem to do anymore, is separate things. Is super. I mean, because they always say that about Jeepers Creepers. They always say that about what was that?
Oh God, Vic Morrow. Well, yeah, and he's one that, you know.
I mean, that is gross. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, that's fucking nasty.
I did not know that about him when I watched the first Jeepers Creepers. Have I watched him since? No. Does that going to make me say that the first movie was a bad movie? No, because the first movie was a decent horror film as far as like originality and all that shit. Yeah,
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't think I heard
Victor Morrow is a convicted molester, basically.
Silva.
Did I say Victor Miller? I'm so sorry, Victor Salva. Sorry.
Yeah. The director and writer of Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, okay.
Jeepers Creepers.
I didn't even know that.
Pedo. Yeah, proper pedo.
And I like Jeepers Creepers.
He made Powder, and what else did he make before that? I'm trying to remember. Was it Clown House or something like that? He had a couple of movies before that were, yeah.